I already thought Auburn had one of the best cornerback rooms in the SEC, and it just got even better.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into a special live edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. And yes, the reason we are all gathered here right now, Rayshawn Pleasant, the former Tulane cornerback, has committed via the transfer portal to be an Auburn Tiger. The timing of it is a little interesting in regards to eligibility, but as far as traits, I think this guy's really good. I think he's really, really good. And let me just be 100% clear here. There is no downside for Auburn adding Rayshawn Pleasant to this roster. None. And I just want to be very clear with that. But I do have questions on why Rayshawn Pleasant would agree. I mean, we've talked about this over the course of the last few shows. Auburn has done an incredible job this portal window in convincing players to say, hey, you're not guaranteed a starting spot, but you can add depth and, hey, maybe compete for a starting spot. Rayshawn Pleasant is in a similar situation as some of these other guys that we've talked about. A guy who's played plenty of snaps, especially what he did last year at Tulane. He played 480 snaps on defense last year for Tulane, played 37 the year prior. So, I mean, the bulk of his playing time came last year. And the reputation around this guy, I mean, I've jumped on a few calls and texted a few folks in New Orleans that were familiar with him. And there's somebody in the live chat here that says he watched a lot of Tulane and he's the real deal. Austin Walk says that. Thanks for joining, Austin. And like that seems to be the consensus. A lot of people highlighting his like 99 or 100-yard pick six on ESPN. They gave him 100 yards, so let's count it. See another place to say 99. Let's give him the full 100. Why not? Which is great, which is absolutely awesome. My question is not from the Auburn point of view. My question is like Rayshawn Pleasant must believe in himself, which is what we want, because he is going to have to battle for reps. He is going to have to absolutely battle for reps on the field for the Auburn Tigers to play cornerback. We've talked about this in the past few years, like certain position groups with this Auburn roster, it was easier to get playing time than others. Cornerback is probably the toughest on the team right now. And we can talk about, like, you want to be too deep at both outside corner spots and at slot, nickel, whatever you want to call it. But Auburn has the bodies there. But goodness gracious, the fact that he's probably going to at least be in the rotation, like the raising, like worst case scenario, the floor goes up. The ceiling just shot through the roof, though, when you talk about Rayshawn Pleasant. I mean, we all believe in Jay Crawford. We all believe in Kayan Lee. We all believe, I think, in Ryan Strader. And then just the upside that Blake would be and Donovan Starr's true freshman represent. And now Rayshawn Pleasant, I'm probably leaving somebody out. Just got done with a run. Halfway through a run, Auburn gets a corner. So I'm already hot and bothered. We all know I love corners. And man, does Auburn have a great cornerback room. Rayshawn Pleasant, formerly of Tulane, now with the Auburn Tigers. So let's talk about some of his numbers. One pick last year, and we're only going to talk about last year. We're only going to talk about last year because he played 37 snaps in 2023. And honestly, those 37 snaps weren't great. So we're just not going to look at them. His first year in 2023, he got targeted 4 times. He allowed 4 catches. Like we're gonna assume that he took the step forward from 2023 to 2024 because the eye test, I think he did. There's a great question in live chat I'm going to get to in 1 second from Justin. Great stuff. So of those 480 snaps, almost all of them were outside corner. We'll just do this now. Justin Daly asked, can he play a different position, you think? And I'm assuming you're asking, can he do something other than outside corner? And I think that's the question to ask. I 100% think that's the question to ask. Of his 533 snaps totaled, some of those were on special teams, but he played 394 of them at wide corner, outside corner. He played just 8 snaps at slot, and then he played 68 in the box. The way PFF does that, it's where you are when the ball is snapped. So that could have been him following a guy across the position, maybe in a jet sweep situation, and the opposing offense did that. It could have been him, playing just closer to the line of scrimmage, because PFF has him slotted at linebacker for like 49 snaps. So that makes me think that he was reacting to something, but maybe that's the case. So could he play another position at 6'1", 185? Possibly, but he hasn't really done it. That's not what he did at Tulane, but he could. He absolutely could. I didn't mention Champ Anthony. When I was listing all of those elite corners, I didn't mention Champ Anthony. Guys, this cornerback room is the best in the SEC. Like, let's don't dance around it. Let's own it. And it was probably that way before Rayshawn joined. Now it's there. Okay, so could he play another position? Possibly. And that could have been part of the sales pitch, right? But then you've also got like safeties that they're looking at there with Fagans and Eric Winters. So, I mean, it's just so loaded. It is absolutely so stinking loaded. But yeah, so like there's no downside to adding Rayshawn Pleasant to this year's team. None. Could Rayshawn have gone somewhere where I think the path to playing time, or at least more playing time, would have been easier? Yes, he absolutely could have. But this dude wants to be a part of something. I'm just guessing. And we all want our corners to have that confidence, to have that dog in them, to say, you know what? I don't care who's in front of me. I'll go compete with Jay Crawford. I'll go compete with Kayan Lee. I'll go compete with Champ Anthony, who was absolutely on fire before his injury last year. I'll go compete. I don't mind. Okay, Rayshawn, come on and compete, my guy. I think it's awesome. I absolutely love it. Derek, Derek gets it. Derek says, it's hard not to officially boog right now. It really seems like every room has so much potential. And I think you're right. There's a few rooms I have questions on. Defensive back, corner is not one of them. So we talked about like where Auburn could go next. And I said, like, I get why you would want a defensive back, but I don't understand why the defensive back would want to come to Auburn. But for whatever reason, like this staff, like, it can't be understated. This staff has done such an incredible job at getting guys who were starters elsewhere with limited years left of eligibility to say, hey, come be just a part of the rotation. You're going to have to compete for reps. And like, I've seen a few people say that he's got a chance to start. I don't think so. Like, I don't think Rayshawn will start this year unless something happens. Like, I think Kayan Lee and Jay Crawford are NFL guys. I just do. But man, the fact that your fourth corner, your third corner, your fifth corner, your sixth corner, whoever it is, and wherever you want to slot Rayshawn, it all gets better. All of, like, however many corners you plan on playing in a regular game or throughout the season due to injury, it all gets better. They all get better with the addition of Rayshawn Pleasant, formerly of Tulane. And that's all you can ask for. And props to the staff for saying, hey, you know what? We're not done. We're going to try to bring in guys to compete at every single spot. And Rayshawn says, hey, I'm not worried about competing. Because that's the biggest argument against the current state of college athletics, right? Is like, oh, all these guys, they don't want to compete. They just want to go where they can get paid and they can play football, and the path to playing time is easy. And Rayshawn gets to take the step to the SEC, and he says, no, I want to compete. We cannot stress that enough, because I think that trade in all positions is important. In a corner, you got to have the confidence, especially at this level. I think it's awesome. I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible. Okay, so but let's talk about like the eligibility situation, because that, to me, once again, from Auburn's point of view, like, you absolutely say yes to this. There's no downside to this. But from Rayshawn Pleasant's, like, I guess, plan as far as his eligibility goes, like, what does that look like? What does that look like for him and for Auburn? That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. Live chat, Auburn, 1.5-point favorite against Baylor in the season opener. How do we feel about that? You taking Auburn? You taking Baylor? Let me know in the live chat right now. And of course, the NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and you place that first $5 bet, you get $250 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. So don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com right now and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. FanDuel.com. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and of course, the Locked On Podcast Network. So Rayshawn Pleasant, newest Auburn corner from Tulane, has 2 years left of eligibility. Because, man, well, he redshirted in 2022, didn't play. This is according to PFF. 2023, he played a few snaps in every game. Didn't play a ton, or he played a lot of special teams. Did not play a lot of defense. Played 37 snaps on defense. Played 123 snaps total as a special teams guy. And then in 2024, takes a massive step, played 533 snaps. Total, including special teams and defense. So has 2 years left of eligibility. So that puts him in the same year as Champ Anthony, Kayan Lee, Tay Seymour, and Ryan Strader. And when you look at like the guys in the defensive back room that could go after this year, like, that's a short list, which is what's really, like, I mean, you talk about Boog, like, you talk about getting excited, is like, these guys are still young. And so of those juniors going into the season, like, how many of those are NFL guys after this year? I think it might just be Kayan Lee. And so if you're Pleasant, Rayshawn, and you're looking ahead to like the future of this roster, your situation from a depth chart standpoint probably doesn't change that much from this year to next year, which is interesting to think about. And I'm sure they think about it. And I'm sure it came up when he visited and discussed it with the staff and all that. So as far as his role, like, I don't think he's a potential guy. Like, I think this is just like, this is what it's going to look like. Just so much depth that they're able to throw at opposing passing games. And it's exciting to think about. I mean, it's crazy how deep the corner room is. And they all should be here for 2 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. And obviously, you know, like, if Champ Anthony's healthy, I don't know if Champ Anthony has a side that the NFL wants. So, like, I have a hard time seeing him leave after the season. And like Strader, if Strader does what he did at Auburn, what he does, if he does this year what he did at Miami of Ohio, you know, he might get some interest, possibly. But goodness gracious, this, I mean, I was a little skeptical of the addition of an older defensive back just because I didn't really think it made sense for the DB. But it's like, of course, Auburn's going to try it. Goodness gracious, they nailed it. I mean, they hit this one out of the park just from a depth standpoint. All right. That's my thoughts on Rayshawn. Anybody in live chat want to talk about anything else for a second? I got to go watch Survivor in a few minutes. But I'm like, I want to go live. We don't really talk about this, obviously, on tomorrow's edition of Locked On. So, Locked On Auburn. So I wanted to make sure this Wanted to make sure that this got up. So just for the sake of conversation, like when you look at what Auburn has defensively, I do think Jay Crawford and Kayan Lee are the starting corners. Fascinating to see what Champ Anthony does. If I had to guess who scoots inside, like I think Champ Anthony makes a ton of sense. I think scooting Kayan inside also makes a ton of sense. You can't touch Jay Crawford. You can't. I think Jay's the best corner on this team. I think he's one of the best players on this team. You just can't mess with it. You just can't mess with it. And like, I just want folks to understand something. Like I've been posting stats of the days every morning. We only missed one this year so far, which I'm a little proud of because sometimes they're kind of hard to pull out. But the one I posted this morning, Auburn corner Kayan Lee allowed a completion percentage of 46.9% last year. And there are a few people that were like, oh my goodness, like that's not good. I'm like, it is good. It is good. I mean, the top two guys in the draft that are expected to go tomorrow night were like 56% or something like that, with Travis Hunter and then the guy from Michigan. They were higher than that. And and Kayan was second to Jay Crawford as far as allowed completion percentage. And like, I know we talk about how I get excited about corners. Yes. Yeah. Y'all rag me all the time, which is fine. But I don't think like we talk about how deep the cornerback room is. I don't think some people get how good they are, how good Kayan and Jay were a year ago. And when they have other guys, like I think the safeties are better. I think they're more athletic, assuming they, get the scheme and, they're able to place themselves where they need to be. And then maybe they won't have to play as much because this rotation is like ridiculous. It's crazy. And I think the pass rush will be better. So they won't have to cover for as long, or maybe they're going to be, targeted by a quarterback that's getting hit or feels like he's about to get hit. This should just get better. So to me, I think this is very exciting stuff. And then like, how do they use Strader? Like, is Strader just a pure like third outside corner? I don't know. Man, options are great. Options are outstanding. Okay. Cool. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys for hanging out for a few minutes. Of course, tomorrow's show will be normal. Brian Smith joins us. We talk more about recruiting than anything else. We do hint on other aspects of the transfer portal window and, the implications of that. I'm seeing if there's any more questions. I think Auburn's still looking at pass rusher. If I had to guess a position, it would be pass rusher. So we'll see. And a lot of folks talking about Auburn's got to win more games. Absolutely. I do not think Chad Baker-Mazara is coming back. I hope so, though. What a fun question. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Please like the live. Please subscribe. And if you're watching after the fact, like the video. Helps the show out a ton. So we'll see y'all next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.